Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have another session of our in the kitchen cooking series to feature Mama Millie's Mojo. I am delighted to have a guest chef today. You'll see that things look a little different today. We have multiple camera angles, right? This is one of my very good friends, Gisselle. We know each other from college. We both went to Rutgers, New Brunswick. And Gisselle is just as passionate about food as I am. She has worked as a pastry chef. She also has been an instructor with Sur La Table, and she's currently an instructor with Wellness in the Schools.
Well, programs operation manager. I did move up in the world.
There we go. Right. So she's used to promoting healthy eating, teaching cooking, and has a lot of tips and tricks. She developed this recipe for us tonight, which I'm so excited to try. It looks delicious. I'm gonna pass it on to Gisselle. She's gonna be the head chef today, and I'm gonna assist her. I'll also be on the chat with you, so please, let us know if you have any questions. Yeah, chat along. I pass it on to you, Gisselle.
All right, thank you very much, Milena. I'm so happy to be here and be cooking all with you on this fabulous Saturday night. And it's gonna be fabulous for all the tasty treats that we have planned. All right, so this menu is kind of inspired by springtime and things that I love about spring. Now, just like how Milena mentioned, I do like teaching healthy eating, so I'm gonna be kind of encouraging people to make some better choices as they go along, but that doesn't mean that we're not gonna also get, a little gluttonous tonight. We have some great lamb on the menu, so we're gonna be going on how to sear and cook a really great lamb on the stovetop. We also have a beautiful herb brown rice on the menu, which we're gonna learn about that. We're gonna learn how to make a good brown rice, which I think no matter how good chefs we are, no matter what culture we're from, rice is always a little bit intimidating, right? So we're gonna learn a little bit about that. And then we're also going to be making one of my favorite salads, Panzanella, but for the springtime, right? We think Panzanella, we think summertime, but we're gonna kind of show my favorite kind of springtime way of making it, which is showcasing really great produce that is just arriving in our markets just about now for the spring season. All right, should we get started cooking?
Let's get going.
All right,
ready.
I love it. So first, we're going to be chopping some onion and some garlic for our herb rice. So if we can go ahead and switch to the cutting board. So everyone, I am now going to be showing you all. I'm going to be showing you all how to cut an onion. Now here we have the root, which is at the very bottom and the very top. What I'm going to do is, to get started, I'm going to cut, not the root, but the other side of my onion, just cutting off that top. Name of the game, people. Here we are. So we're gonna try it again. Slippery little sucker. We're now gonna be cutting our top of our onion. And then now, actually, I just realized I forgot to mention chef grip, everyone. So here you see I have an 8-inch chef's knife. And what I want everyone to do if you're cooking along with me today is give me an A-OK. So if you're a righty, you're using your right hand. If you're a lefty, your left hand. You're gonna pinch with these 2 fingers where the handle meets the knife. And those extra fingers you got hanging out, we're gonna wrap around the knife. And that's gonna give you a chef's grip. And you see that my ring finger here is curled, right? And that's a good solid chef grip, and that's gonna give you the most control over your knife. Your other hand is what I call, or tell kids, bear claw, right? Your fingertips are tucked behind your kind of front knuckles, and they're curled in, protecting themselves, right? So now you can see my blade is resting against my knife here, and that's gonna protect my fingers. My blade is lifting against my knuckle, it's resting. I'm gonna cut the onion in half. And that's going to now expose, right, the onion, and I'm now going to take off my peel. I also like taking off the first layer of onion, and that is because sometimes it could be a little bit bitter, but that's my preference. Is there a little garbage bowl?
Yeah, I think that's right-hand side.
Excellent. All right, now I know where that is. So, great. So now I'm cutting that, and I'm also going to be cleaning as I go. So now I have my onion, and we're going to be dicing our onion. Now everyone, this is how I dice an onion. I bring my onion to the very edge of the cutting board closest to me. I start at the very back of my knife. Now everyone, I'm going horizontal, but if you're a little bit nervous in cutting and you're a little bit worried hurting yourself, you can also try this, but tilt your knife a little bit downward and away from your fingers. I'm not going to prop my other hand right on top like this, so that way I can see my fingers, I can see my onion, and I can see my knife. I'm not pressing down a lot. I'm just light pressure. That way my knife can go in real easy. And I'm gonna go ahead and create my first layer cut, and I'm cutting almost to the root, but not quite. I'm leaving the root intact, and this is gonna help my onion stay together as I cut. So as you saw, I just created some horizontal cuts. I'm now going in with some vertical cuts, almost to the root, but not quite. Keeping my onion together as I cut. Now, I'm now going to finish this off with my slices here, bring my knife down all the way through. And now when you get to this little part of the onion, just chop away. And there you go, you have beautiful diced onion.
Chef Gisselle, do you have any tips for not crying while you're chopping an onion?
Yes. So, there's only a couple of things that work. You can hold a gulp of water in your mouth as you cut an onion. Believe it or not, the properties inside an onion that make your eyes water, they're attracted to moisture, which makes sense because the wettest part of your face is in fact your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you hold a gulp of water in your mouth while you cut an onion, that works. But if gargling while you're cutting an onion is too much work for you, believe it or not, this works. Stick your head in the freezer for a couple, maybe 30 seconds, and that will really help things along. So now everyone, you can see I have my onion here. It's almost cut. And now I'm about ready to add my onion to what's going to be in our rice. So this onion here is actually going to be going in our rice pot. I have some olive oil, and we can actually leave the cutting board now.
All right.
Woo! Getting emotional with y'all.
All right, we're gonna go right to the pan to see what's going on there.
I'm dropping in some olive oil. And we're just gonna lightly sweat our onions. If you're thinking about a good way to bring up the intake of vegetables in your diet, think about actually adding them to your, ooh, getting a little emotional, right? Adding them to your rice, right? It's a great avenue to do that. We got a nice little sizzle.
That's the sound.
Right? And remember, we don't want to get any color on our herb rice. We just, so no color on the vegetable. We just want to lightly sweat. Ooh, a little skin in there. That's too much skin in the game. And now, we're just gonna let that cook there. Make sure, we're gonna give that a nice little toss and turn. Make sure all of our onions are coated in olive oil. We're gonna now season with salt and pepper. Now, I like in my little salt kick, which is basically the little container that has my salt, I like about 1/3 pepper and 1 part pepper and 2 parts salt, but to each their own. Do however you like. Now, these onions are gonna cook. They're gonna cook until translucent, and they're gonna bring out their natural sweetness. Onions are really good for your stomach. They're good in fighting inflammation. All around, great, great vegetable, right? So now here I have my garlic. I have my skin. So you got to think about something that makes you angry. Milena, got any ideas?
Oh man, so many. But it's just a good stress relief. So anything that you're thinking about, just channel it there.
All right, let's see here.
Traffic was awful yesterday.
All right, bam. Right? Give it a smash. That lets out our garlic. Now everyone, with garlic, oh, this is actually a great example. If we can actually get a little close-up on my cutting board here.
All right.
So,
the cutting board.
Oopsie daisy. So you see here how this part of the garlic clove is a little bit blue, almost a teal. That's no bueno. That actually means that the garlic is a little bit older and that is going to taste a little bit bitter. So you just want to cut that out. Now, everyone, the smaller that you cut an onion, the more powerful the garlic flavor is going to be. So to your rice, if you want a kiss of garlic flavor, leave the garlic clove whole. But if you like a lot of garlic flavor, really, really cut it up. Now, everyone, to mince, now you can tell I just tossed that blue part of my garlic, right? Now to mince, I'm going to change my chef grip. I'm just going to now pinch where the handle meets the blade or the spine of my knife, park 2 fingers towards the edge, and I'm going to just rock back and forth, like so. Rock back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? And now if I want to even boost up my garlic flavor here, to my cutting board, I can add a little bit of my salt. Bring that towards the edge, and I can even rock my knife back and forth like this. And that's going to give me a really beautiful garlic paste very quickly.
Yep.
So it's a nice little kitchen hack right there.
And now,
And if
hey, you even like doing that. That's
Drop
like
in.
our Mama Millie's Mojo.
Right.
It's all set for you. The garlic paste and the spices, salt and pepper are right in there too. So that's also a nice feature. I loved what you said about my sauce before earlier, Gisselle, where you said, you know, the convenience is really one of the keys to why this sauce is so great, right? So you don't have to chop
One
garlic.
and done.
It's one
Right?
and done.
One and done.
The flavor's all there. And you know, it's kind of like a shortcut where you can use it as a cooking sauce, you can use it as a condiment. We're talking about, you know, making those kind of base sauces it's intensive, right? You saw how long it took, right, for a little bit to produce a lot and have it in a jar.
So if you want to just zhuzh up your rice on a weeknight, right, it's a great way to just do that. Just give it a quick little zhuzh, right? Add a little bit of flavor there, along with an onion, and now you have some boring rice. You used to have some boring rice, and now you have some delicious rice, right? So everyone, if we look into the pot now, we can see that our that our pot has now cooked our onions. They're nice and sweated. I'm now ready to add my rice, my brown rice. And everyone, you do want to rinse your brown rice. Well, it's not as important as when you cook with white rice to rinse. So I put that in the sink now.
Absolutely.
There we go. It is still important. It helps to take off any anything that's stuck on there from any debris or any dust. Now, everyone, I'm actually toasting my brown rice here in the pan. And with brown rice, this isn't going to help its texture, but what it is going to do is it's going to bring out its natural nutty flavor and aroma. So this is something I kind of recommend if you have the time, give it a little bit of a toast. This little step I find is really worth it, especially if you kind of like that deeper flavor of brown rice, right? So we're going to let that toast a bit. So now, everyone, while that's toasting, we're going to be coming back to this beautiful lamb. So everyone, here's a nice little chef's trick here.
Let's get a close-up of that on the cutting board.
If you're ever going to be roasting, there you go. If you're ever going to be roasting or searing large cuts of meat like this, I recommend that you put it into the fridge on a little grill pad so it's able to get air all around. That's really going to help with the get beautiful color and a nice sear when the time comes. Just let it hang out for about, ideally 24 hours, but you can get away with as little as 2 hours. Just let it dry out, and that's really going to help. Now here, I'm just going to go ahead and pat dry with a paper towel, right? And you know what? I think it's time I should get handsies. This time is not enough, my friends.
All right.
So
we also have, this is a grass-fed Australian lamb, and just to point out that the grass-fed meat will be a little bit more gamey and have that earthy flavor to it.
Right, and we can talk about that a little bit. So, when I hear that somebody doesn't like lamb, it's usually that gamey flavor, right? And so here's the thing about that, everyone. So that gamey flavor really comes from the fat of the lamb. So if you're not, let's say, you're in a household and you're the person who doesn't really like the lamb taste, but you know, everyone else loves lamb and is asking for it, and you're thinking, what can I do for myself? Answer is trim the fat off, and that's really going to help. Also, white wine is something that can really cut down on the gaminess of lamb. So if you're, even after removing the fat, if it's not for you, that's what you can definitely do. Now,
my mom has another recipe. I just remember she would do leg of lamb. She would also do yogurt. She would take the Mojo garlic sauce and put it with yogurt, and yogurt would really like tenderize the lamb too. I don't know if it does anything for the grass-fed taste of it, but it definitely did for the texture. Because some people, you know, depending on what cut you're using, and it can be varying, you know, tender or a little more.
And we were talking about this. I feel like the texture of lamb is so cultural, right? You have people who like it almost raw, rice are really cooked and almost chewy, right? So I think it's also cultural. So everyone, do what you like. There's no right or wrong way. If you like lamb raw, then that's how you're going to do it. If you like it another way, then that's how you should do it. To each their own. I am not the lamb police. So everyone, we're now going to get to the next part of our cooking part, all right? So as you can see here, let me make sure this is divided evenly. We have lamb, and I did trim this lamb when I took it out of the packaging. I removed some of the fat from the top here, but I left the fat cap. And which camera am I on? I put the fat cap. I left the fat cap in the bottom because we are actually going to use this fat and render it off in the pot. So let's go ahead and switch to the pot here.
All right.
Now, as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm not going to be dropping it off to the sides. All together like this, in a heavy skillet that's piping hot, I'm dropping that fat cap, just like so. Standing up. And what's going to happen, and no oil, I'm letting the lamb render the fat. There we go.
Ooh,
no fear. Yeah. No fear. All right, and that is going to render out, and we're going to use that fat to cook the rest of our lamb, the rest of the way.
Already smelling good.
All right, and you saw I seasoned this very well with salt and pepper. You want to make sure you season large cuts of meat very well. Don't be scared. And that is going to start rendering off. It's going to get very, very sizzly in here. This is also great if you want to take this out into a grill. Oh, yes. You might actually. Yep. Thank you.
It's going to be off camera for 2 seconds while we wash our hands.
Yep. And everyone, I don't know if you did, but just so you know, I was doing one clean hand, one dry hand when I was seasoning the meat. That way you can prevent any kind of cross-contamination. Now, everyone, we're now going to, thank you, check back in on our rice. Nice and toasted, as you can see. Very nice. I'm now going to add in my water. Very good. We're going to bring this up to a boil, and once it gets to a boil, to a simmer, and then we're going to put the lid on them.
All right.
Excellent.
Let's go back to our main camera where all the action is.
All right.
All right.
So, actually, we can go back to the lamp for a second.
Right.
I just want to have people check in here.
Yes, chef.
So everyone, you can see already how much fat is rendering off that lamb. Now, I do teach health, so something I do want to talk about is, look, lamb, depending on the cut you get, like this lamb chop here, is going to have saturated fat. But one of the things, if we're talking red meat here, one of the things that is better about lamb over red meat is that because lamb they eat grass, they graze on grass, they have more omega-3. So that's something that it has over beef, right? That's usually corn fed in this country. So we're gonna let that go, get beautiful color. I am very excited. All right. Matt, if we can please drop this off into the sink, madam. Thank you. Now you may be thinking, hey, where's this Mojo going to be coming in with that lamb? Just you wait, stay tuned. It's coming right up, my friend. Are we ready to get started on the next steps for our panzanella?
All right, let's do it.
All right. Do you mind, Madame, showing the audience what we have here? This is great.
Nice country loaf.
Live. Whatever you have on hand, we're going to be making some croutons, all right? So let's see here. Our bowl is, I see right over there.
Okay, let me go grab that.
Excellent. So everyone, what we're going to be doing is, right here is just taking some bread, tearing it up. You think nonas are dicing perfect cubes? No, nonas don't have to do that, right? We're going rustic. This is a rustic dish of panzanella, right? Now, we're just taking some bread and heating it up. Now, Milena, I remember in culinary school, right? We had to make croutons every day.
Really?
For a production class, yeah. And you can only guess how many croutons were made and how many actually made it out of the kitchen. It was so snackable and so delicious. There's something about freshly made croutons that's so good. So everyone, you know, while we're talking salad, here, my idea of a salad, look, oh yeah, even Lola, the dog, she's coming in, she's curious. She knows what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Now,
good.
I keep a lot of health here. Salad, when I talk salad, I think sturdy salads. I think really well-seasoned salad.
Oh, yeah.
I think salads with a lot of texture and things going on. So if you are somebody who, again, you're trying to have better eating, you're trying to incorporate more veg into your diet, and you're thinking, oh, salads are so boring, they don't have to be. Get creative,
Yeah,
have fun.
that's right.
They can be amazing. And if you're thinking of big salad, and our chef that I work with is now the new chef at Chop Salad.
Oh, nice.
And this is some advice she gave me, which I thought was really significant. When you're eating a big salad, you can get tired of eating it at some point, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you have a lot of texture, some different flavors, a lot of things going on. That way, it's yummy to the very bottom of the bowl.
All right. I actually have a lot of tips on my blog. Go to my website. There's a whole list. The blog post is salads don't have to suck. So touching upon all of these too, so you can find that information there. You can find some suggested recipes as well.
Yeah. And now we got here some olive oil. Now you could be also dressing this beautiful crouton. Oh my! Imagine Mojo flavored croutons. But we're gonna be using this Mojo in just a bit, in another way for the salad. So now I'm just drizzling some olive oil here. Yeah, let's season this baby. We toss, we reflect, we make sure that they're very well seasoned.
My hands in
yeah. I'm getting excited. When
right.
the hips start moving, you know it's getting good, people.
And onto here.
And onto there.
Okay.
And this goes into a 400-degree oven to get nice and toasted. You can also do this in a pan. The reason I mention this is I know in the summertime when everyone's eating a little bit more salad, not everybody wants to turn on a hot oven.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, I actually even like a pan toasted crouton a little bit better.
All right.
So
I'm
keep
gonna
that
pop
in mind.
this in.
That's going to be popped into the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. And now I'm going to check in on my lamb. Oh, you're so beautiful. You got to encourage your lamb. Give it high praise it deserves. So as you can see, they got a great sear. Look at that, everyone. Look at that crispiness. It's almost like bacon, right? Like it reminds me of stuff. So now we're ready to turn our tops to one side. Now, Milena, something that I saw when you made your beef was that you had used, to tell for doneness, the hand, right?
Yes. The hand method, everyone. Remember what that was? This is raw, medium rare, medium well done. You feel it with the palm of your hand.
So everyone, funny enough though about that, I learned a different way.
Okay.
A little less sanitary, but we're all friends here. Well done.
Okay.
Medium raw.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, all right, everyone. I think we're now. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just having a moment with this lamb. She's so beautiful. I love her. All right, so let's see. Our rice is also going to come to a boil. Now, let's go ahead and check back in with our panzanella. We're going to be chopping up a storm here. And this is where we have that nice twist on the classic panzanella. Now, if you think about a classic panzanella, right, we're thinking about a couple of things. We're thinking, obviously, beautiful summer tomatoes. fried crunchy bread, right? Those beautiful croutons, maybe some mozzarella, oil, red vinegar, right? Maybe some basil.
Ooh.
Basil, tomato, they haven't come in yet, right? Seasonally, they're produced in summer, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy ourselves a big, beautiful Panzanella salad, right?
Yeah. I actually have an arrow garden, so you can grow herbs all year round. Yeah, and then we'll dry them as well, so it's like a fresh dried.
If you grow your own, I guess you can have summertime Panzanella and kind of like. But if not, that's okay. What we can do here is use what we have in the season. Now, when we eat produce when it's seasonal, that means that it's ripest and it tastes the best. But that also means that actually it's most nutritious. So when you're eating tomatoes in the summer, right, that means this is when they're going to give you the most amount of vitamin C, right? But when we're eating things like, right now we have this beautiful Gisselle, right? Oh, yeah. This is when we're going to be getting the most amount of nutrients. And as we go through, we're going to actually talk about some nutrients that you can find in our beautiful leafy lettuces. Yeah, right? So, here we have a small bulb of lettuce. Now, fennel. Yeah, fennel, thank you. Mm-hmm. So, I'm just going to
watch you chop that.
Take the fronds off. And I'm going to park them to the side thank you, as I cut through the bulb. So I'm not, as you can see, you kind of have a narrow side, right, and a wide side. I'm going to be cutting it wide side, so that way I can get the core. Now, sometimes it's depending on the size of your fennel. You can have no core or little core. Here you can see I have a core. Let's see. Let's check in, though, on our lamb chops. A little bit more time. Oh, our rice has come to a boil. Most excellent. I'm now going to lower the heat to a light simmer. There we go. Yep. And put the lid on. And we're going to let that go. Now, I'm going to now core my fennel. And I'm parking it in the very bottom so it's nice and stable. I see where my fingers are. I see where my product or my funnel is, and I can see where the tip of my knife is. And I'm going to cut my core like so. If you have a very large piece of fennel and it's a bit hard, you can actually use a paring knife and go at it that way and go at it bit by bit. And that's another way, just in case you have a very large core or something you can't quite get to with a chef's knife.
You know, fennel is something that I learned to love. I didn't always like it. And then as I started having it more, first was having it caramelized, having it roasted, completely changed it for me. And then having it thinly sliced in the salad. They also thinly sliced it for claw, which I didn't know for a long time too. And it's just great. It has that oniony texture, but it has some sweetness to it, and I've really grown to like it. Now, how would you suggest using then the frying part?
We're going to be definitely using this in this. It has a delicate licorice flavor to it. We're going to be using it in our salad, but if you're not, let's say you're going to be roasting or caramelizing your fennel, and you're not going to be using these delicate fronds, great way to use it is in a pesto. You can use it at the top of the buns as a garnish. Okay. You can present it as a garnish. You can also put it in a dressing. If you keep it in oil, it actually will last longer, right? So it's another great way of utilizing it. Now, if we go back to the cutting board, you see with our fennel, we have a little bit of browning. That is sometimes normal. You can take a vegetable peeler and actually take that off, but I'm just going to nick that and keep that to the side. Hello, Lola. Lola's drinking some water. Very good choice, Lola. How's that lamb looking? Is she ready to be flipped? Let's take a little piece. I think she, oh yeah, that's beautiful.
I'm going to go ahead and flip these.
Excellent.
And then just highlight it. We're going to spotlight that. We're going to really see.
Oh yeah. Looking lovely. Now everyone, the great thing about fennel and a lot of green vegetables is that they're packed with vitamin K, which is really good for our muscles. It's good for our bones, right? If you are working out or an athlete, vitamin K is really important. And actually, speaking of brown rice, I want to talk a little bit about it. It's one of those things, I know, you know, I'm Latina. I grew up eating so much rice at home. And it's one of those things I've been desperately trying to encourage my family to switch to. And that's because it's so much better for you. It has magnesium. Now, magnesium is one of those really hard to get nutrients.
Okay.
It's really good for your bones. It also is really good at actually getting energy. So it's converting carbohydrates into energy. And speaking of carbohydrates, right, brown rice is a more complex carbohydrate because they don't strip the bran of the rice. So that means it takes longer for it to break down in your body and convert to carbohydrates, which means a couple of things actually. It means more level energy throughout the whole day. You don't have a sugar high and then crash, right? But also, that means you're actually also going to stay fuller longer. Nobody likes being hangry.
That's right. Just a reminder to everyone, this is being recorded. It's going to be on our YouTube. We're going to post the recipe on the Mama Millie's website. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we're going to post our next In the Kitchen cooking class. And we're also taking
those are
good. Okay, we're also taking questions on the chat, and if there's anything that you'd like to see us cook in the future.
Yeah. And those are our beautiful croutons. Let's see, how are they looking? Okay. We'll be honest with the audience. We have some little overbrowning, but hey, we still have some salvageable pieces. So, as they say in life, you make it work.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
It looks a bit more like rye bread, but all right. How are we doing, Chef Gisselle?
Oh, I think those might be done.
All right. So I turn the heat off.
Oh no, we can lower it down actually.
All right.
And now we're gonna make a beautiful pan sauce using your mojo.
All right.
So, my friends,
we're gonna switch over to the pan.
We've lowered our heat here all the way. Now, keep in mind safety. We might get some splatter here, such as like.
We have a splatter guard.
Oh no, that's okay. Oh, protect yourself, Milana. These fingers are kind of used to it by now. So actually, do we have a big spoon? Big spoon. To base. Perfect. So everyone, what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be adding 5 whole cloves of garlic because I want a kiss of garlic flavor. I don't want it to be too abundant. Also, at this point, you would add it in smaller pieces. Our garlic might burn. I'm adding some beautiful parsley here. Yes, I'm sorry, mint and parsley.
Mint and parsley, okay.
And we're going to be adding some lemon juice. Just like so. Oh, yeah. Yum. And barely any, not one seed. It's lemon miracle. And of course, the mojo.
Yeah.
Right? Oh yeah. Beautiful, beautiful deep garlic flavor. We're gonna thin this out with some water. Right? And now what I'm gonna do is we've made this beautiful pan sauce with the fat, the rendered fat of the lamb, right? The water, the mojo, the garlic. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna start basting it and pouring this sauce. Ooh, we lost the lamb. Got it back. And basting it. And we're going to baste. Now, something someone told me this other week that I started laughing. Chefs like their sheen. They like their food to be glossy. And this is a great, wait, look at how glossy this pan sauce is, right? Yeah. Look how it's shining. You're so gorgeous. I love you. You got to give your lamb encouragement, people. It has to feel special. All right. So now I'm going to take this off heat. How gorgeous are you? Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
yum.
Oh, look at the gloss.
That looks delicious.
So everyone, we're kind of almost in a little bit in Mediterranean, a little bit Italian today. So rustic is best.
That's right. I love rustic.
Yeah. And it's going to be a nice, beautiful rustic presentation. And oh my gosh, look at that pan sauce. I know I have to move on to other things, Rihanna, but Emily doesn't want to. That is gorgeous. All right. So now, my friends, a little paper towel. Here we go. We're going to move on to the panzanella. So as you saw, I was chopping up my fronds here. And little trick, kind of get your knife here and just kind of cut the fronds. And it's a great way of kind of hacking at. Now let's see, Chef Milena.
Yes.
Can you help me cut some of our
Absolutely.
produce here? Great. So
Bring it back to the center.
So I'm cutting my delicate fronds. These are very delicate. You do not want to hack at them. They will bruise. What would you like? So everything from here.
All right. So what I'm going to do is chop up olives. We have these like salad olives, green olives stuffed with pimento.
Mm-hmm.
We have a smoked fresh mozzarella. And we've got salami. If you look at the board, you'll get a little close-up of that. All right. I'm going to chop this up. And how would you like it chopped up? In ribbons?
In any which way you fancy. So everyone, use what you have in your fridge. We want the salami is kind of a salty bite, right? The mozzarella is kind of creamy, right? The olives are a little bit, while they're also salty and briny, they also have a little bit of acid to them. So we're creating a little bit of balance here, right? Again, salads should be dynamic. They should be fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
when I read this recipe, Gisselle, to me it was kind of like a salad with all the good components of a sub sandwich.
Yes.
So that made me really happy. Anytime that you can have those flavors, have a sandwich, but then it's really like a salad, that's a win.
Yes. And now everyone, speaking of that, look, you should, everyone's like, oh, you're putting some fat in there. Listen, vitamin K is fat soluble.
Okay.
So that means if you're eating anything green, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kale, watercress salad, romaine, right?
Okay.
Try to eat that with some fat. So olive oil is a good choice, right? It's a amount of saturated fat. It is great, right, for you. It helps your hair, your skin, your fingernails, right? Be sure not have some dressing with your salad.
Right.
You want to be able to be sure to absorb all of the the nutritions in your greens, right?
And the nice thing about the mojo is that it has a blend, right? Mm-hmm. So it has a nice base, a neutral base for like a dressing, but also has the 25% olive oil, so you get that flavor, and then you get some of the nutritional benefits as well.
Excellent. Now, everyone, here I have a head of radicchio, and so what I'm going to be, and it's nice and bitter, right?
Yes.
Packed with vitamin K. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the radicchio, right? Packed with vitamin K, really good for you. And this is just going to be a rustic cut. You can see here, right? It's a bit like a cabbage. So we want to make sure to get out the core, which just like the fennel, I'm kind of coming in with the tip of my knife in an angle. And I'm getting that core out.
So, Gisselle, if you couldn't find radicchio in your supermarket, let's say they're sold out or something, what could you substitute it for?
Anything you like. Anything that is seasonal, that is fresh, that excites you, that makes you want to eat the salad. I would say, if you like romaine lettuce and you like that crunch, go for it. I'm not the lettuce police. If you like watercress, that'd actually be a nice substitute because it's also a little bit bitter, right? So that is great. Basically, right, we have the kind of licorice flavor of the fennel, right? We have a little bit of the bitter from the radicchio.
Right.
Also, it's a nice color. Hey, purple cabbage would be great. So we have a lot of color going on. And in fact, I think we're running out of some space in this bowl. But that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Get a bigger bowl.
We'll get a big bowl. This is a big, we're talking about how this is a big bowl salad, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I love here also. We don't have any delicate lettuces, which means that this will stay in your fridge long. It won't wilt right away. So this is a kind of a good salad to make on a weeknight because you can pack it for lunch and take it with you to work the next day.
That's great. Make it once, eat it for a couple meals.
And if you've got picky kids at home, I work with a lot of kids, this salad has something for everyone. And so you might get them to try either greens that way. And that's to actually encourage parents that if they're trying to introduce new foods or healthier foods to their kids' diet, pair it with something that they know and that they like. And that will encourage them to try it. So for example, a strawberry spinach salad. You're trying to get them to eat their spinach. Pair it with some strawberries, right? And that will help.
That's a good point.
So this is looking beautiful. Now here, everyone, I'm gonna add some red onion. If you're not a big fan of onion, you can definitely use yellow or a white sweet onion. Chef's trick I included in the recipe is if you don't like the bite of onion, what you can do is put it in ice water for about 10 to 15 minutes, and that will take the sting out of the onion.
That is a good point. So just spotlighting you, chopping up that onion.
Great, great. And actually, this is a pretty larger onion, so I'm only going to use half. And I'm going to thinly slice it. Another chef's trick, by the way, everyone, is the way you cut an onion will really inform on how it will hold up. So if you are making a salad, right, you want to cut your onion along the grain.
Okay.
Right? But if I'm cooking onion and I want my, let's say French onion soup, and I want my onion to dissolve or break apart, or cook quicker, I'm actually gonna cut it against the grain.
Okay.
But like I said, right, we're going nice and how's our rice looking?
Still cooking.
Still cooking. All right. So
it's so funny because I find myself cutting the onion like that because I don't know, I kind of like the way it looks a little.
Yes, it makes for great presentation, right? We're gonna get these beautiful little slivers, right? And it's gonna look really, really pretty. And we just want to go slow. We just want nice thin slices, right? And if you get to this point and it makes you nervous, remember, you know, the tip of your thumb is much more expensive than that little piece of onion. So let it go. Put it in your stock bag.
Very, very good point.
And here we go. We have that. And then now, last but not least here, we have our herbs. We have our parsley. Parsley is packed with vitamin K. Ooh, watery eyes. Parsley is packed with vitamin K. And so it actually has more vitamin K than kale. So that's something, think about herbs as a way to supplement nutrition to your diet.
Ooh,
right?
Good point.
Parsley, right? It's a great garnish. Actually, the stems I save and I put them into my smoothies or my stocks. I don't throw away anything. I stick them in the bag in the freezer. And now, I've seen a lot of people pick the leaves of parsley one by one.
Oh,
in
man.
kitchens, we're not doing that. Take your knife, put your parsley away from you at the cutting board, laying it down. Bring your knife at an angle, and this is why a sharp knife is important, people, because you can do stuff like this, like give your parsley a nice haircut.
And that's so much quicker.
And it's so much quicker and so much easier than going one by one. And everyone, this is going to be a nice little rough chop, right? This is a rustic salad, big pieces, right? We're not worried about getting greens into our teeth, right? Now here I have some fresh oregano, which adds a lovely sweetness, whereas our parsley is nice and earthy in flavor, right? Our oregano adds a beautiful, light, sweet flavor. And actually with herbs, I almost forgot, little chef's trick, put the herb in your hand, slap it.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to slap it now, slap happy. And that will actually release the oils and bring it to the surface of the herbs and make it more flavorful. You can actually smell it now in the air, can't you?
Get some stress out.
Get some stress out. You know, hey, get a little sexy in there, right? It should be when you're cooking. That's how you know it's good. And we're going to make sure we have all of our herbs, right? A big old pile.
Some fresh oregano, right?
Some fresh oregano. Lovely. Adds great sweetness. It's also surprising. If you don't have fresh, that's fine. What you can do is we're going to make a nice little dressing. And you can just add some dried oregano to that. And you just want to bring that down to about a third.
Okay.
Remember that dried herbs are 3 times as much more potent as fresh. So if you're ever making that substitution in a recipe, just remember to do that math, right? And you want to substitute fresh for dry, times it by 3. It's the other way around. You're substituting dry for fresh, divided by 3. I'm taking all of this.
The dry herbs are 3 more times potent than fresh. All right.
Rough chop. You don't want to blitz your herbs. If you're seeing green in the bottom of your cutting board, you've gone too far. That's actually bad. You're losing flavor when you see that happen.
Oh, that's an interesting part.
Yeah. So we don't want to take this too far. Parsley and oregano can take a lot of abuse. So you can actually cut it quite a bit before it starts to bruise. Whereas delicate herbs like basil and dill, you kind of got to be delicate, right? You can't chop it as much. So now, great rustic pieces. Right, we're gonna add that to the bowl. Oh yes, she's so beautiful. Can we get a little fresh with it? Say, you're my queen to be. Getting a little silly there. All right, this is looking great. We're now ready almost to make our dressing. So here I have my favorite, we can get chefy and whisk and emulsify, but hey, it's a weeknight. We're making panzanella. I want some vitamin K because I just had a nice little workout. Right, we're accomplishing all of our goals. So I have a jar. It has a measurement on the side. Now, when you make a dressing, people don't get bottled. Make your own dressing. So easy. 2 parts olive oil, 1 part vinegar, whatever the hell else you like. Add some orange juice if you like your dressings on the sweeter side. Add herbs, right? Great thing though. I love the Mojo sauce because you know why? I love dressings that can also be marinated.
Oh, fantastic, yeah.
Right? They're 2 for 1. Use it one night to marinate your chicken. Use it the next night to make a salad, right? Or to wet your rice.
Oh, yeah.
These are great. So I love workhorses like that. So now I'm going to add this beautiful herbaceous Mojo to our jar here. And now something to think about it, I do like the Mojo for this because it is very herbal. And it's going to go with our panzanella really, really well. And it's going to stand up to a lot of the bold flavors we have going on. Here we have some red wine vinegar, right? We're now gonna add some salt and pepper. If you actually, red chili flake would also be really tasty in this if you like it on the spicy side. There we go, give that a nice little whisk. You can put a lid on there and shake it till you make it, as I often do in life. Now, I do have tasting spoons, so that's what I'm gonna do here. I think we can use a little bit more vinegar.
All right.
So, but I'm liking the Mojo in there. It's really gonna stand up to all the things we got going on. And another thing about this salad, the longer it sits, the tastier it's gonna get.
All right.
If I wanted to make this into a complete or a more of a complete meal, I would maybe add some chickpeas or navy beans to this and add some protein.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Right? So I'm gonna mix that up. Let's try it again using the other end. Yep.
Okay.
Very nice.
Very quick.
Yeah, very quick. And you can see how much dressing we got from that. This is gonna last all week in the fridge, right? Now, before though I season, I'm gonna drop a little bit of seasoning into the bowl. Here we go, some salt, some pepper. I'm now going to add my dressing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's get a close up of this right from the board. I'm just gonna switch it here.
I love it.
Switch the camera angle so you can really get a look and see how lovely this is coming together. Look at that.
Look how gorgeous that is. Oh my gosh. Look, the colors. So that's something I really like to think about when I'm making a salad is colors. I want all the colors of the rainbow. Green is good for your muscles and your bones. Purple is really good, and purples and blues can be really good for, usually good for your brain and for energy.
Okay.
And then you also have oranges, really good for your skin.
Oh.
Your heart, right? Red is good for your heart also. Your blood, white, good for your stomach, good for your blood.
Eat the rainbow.
Eat the rainbow. If I was, by the way, if you could prep this the night before, just make sure that the croutons are sitting on top. Okay. Nobody likes salty crouton. Well, I'll eat it anyway, but you know.
I guess mix it like right before you're gonna have it.
Exactly. Mix that right before you have it. And how gorgeous is that, everyone? Look at that. Isn't that a springtime moment?
Oh yeah.
And actually, I am gonna go park some fronds just right on top. The fronds are so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. You're so lovely. Look at you. Look at you, your fronds, your croutons, and your crunch, and your texture. Your spices, your acid, your salt, your everything. Your everything. I love it. Okay. So
that's
we're
the key to
looking
making
at
good food, right? Making sure that it's all balanced.
Now, everyone, let's check in on our rice. Let's see here. Okay, are we running low on time?
We've got about 5-10 minutes.
Okay, we got 5-10 minutes, so that's good.
Does anybody have any questions so far? Feel free to drop them in the chat. It looks like we're wrapping up here.
Just about, right? And I'm just gonna clean up my cutting board here. Snap on some fennel from here. Oh yeah.
So another nice thing of a reason why it's so good that you made this jar, this dressing in this jar too, is we'll just pop the lid on and put this back in the fridge and keep it like this.
Right. And it's great for another day.
Yeah.
So everyone, I'm gonna come back in here to our pot, and just for the sake of time, I do want to show you this trick, in case you don't have enough time to get to it. This is where I think the trick to really good brown rice is. A lot of time people make brown rice, it either comes out overcooked or very dry. It's not it's not fluffy. And so is we take our pot, and right where it's almost there, now I'm going to taste our rice to see if it's almost done, which is actually just my babe. It should be quick with it. We don't want to let too much of the steam out. Look. It's 95% of the way there. I'm going to take a nice tea towel. I'm going to make sure it's actually not touching my rice. And I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to let it rest for 10 minutes. And what the tea towel is going to do is it's going to absorb the excess moisture.
Okay.
And it's going to help us to achieve a fluffier rice texture. Which is really, really great. All right. So any questions in the chat? Any questions about how to better incorporate vegetables or fruit into our diet and make better choices?
Millie and Billy Reed, salad looks so scrumptious.
It is. I'm eating all the leftovers.
All right. So Gisselle, maybe too, we can also talk about an option for a vegetarian or someone that doesn't eat red meat, another type of meat.
Sure thing. So same principles that we use today. So let's say if you want something with crispy skin to it, or crispness to it, we can easily get some chicken as a substitute. But in this case, though, you won't want a white meat, you want a darker meat. That's going to hold up to that kind of searing better. So you'll ask for the skin on. And you just want to make sure, important everyone, when you're cooking a larger piece of meat, like our lamb chops, you want to bring it out of the fridge an hour before you're going to cook it. You want to get that chill, that refrigeration chill off. And that's really going to make sure you get even cooking. And it's really going to help create a juicier piece of meat. Now make sure that it's nice and dry. Another tip that we talked about, right? I put it on that little grate.
Right.
And that way the air around it was able to dry it out.
Okay.
I patted it dry with a kitchen towel. I seasoned it very well. And you drop it without fear into a hot skillet. Now everyone, keep in mind if you're working with chicken, you're gonna want some oil in the pan. Unlike we do with the lamb. The lamb have a lot of fat we want to render out. Chicken's not gonna have that same amount of fat. Okay. Right? So you put a little oil in there, but you will get some schmaltz. Which is also very delicious.
The flavor is. Duck breast would be nice too, right? That's also
duck breast. Yeah. Duck breast would be very good. Very seasonal. Would also be very gamey. Cornish hen. I love it. I've had it ever since I was a kid. I used to think it was a baby chicken.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, just for me, you know. And so I love it. It's also a little extra. It has a little fat in there too that you should render out. And so same thing. Hot pan. Let that fat come out of that Cornish hen. And render that out. With Cornish hen, actually, I like putting a little bit of acid.
Okay.
Just to help balance out that fat. Just with duck. And the mojo would actually be really good with that. I know in Thanksgiving, that's how my aunties do it. And these, they're serious cooks when their rendered animal fat is in a coffee percolator for the Eisenhower administration, right? That's
Oh,
how
goodness.
that's how the tias throw down. They're not joking. They're not playing.
All right,
And they
let's see.
marinate their cornichons in mojo and some bitter orange. Which, if you don't have bitter orange in your neighborhood, you can definitely use things like half orange juice and half lime.
All
That's a
right.
great substitution.
We have a question in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be posting the recipe for the mojo? The mojo is available on our website, mamamillies.com. So it comes already done for you. These cooking classes are ways to show you what you can do with the mojo. That's already done. It's a complete seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a recipe that my mother, my name is Milena for anybody that missed the beginning, and this is Chef Gisselle. My mother, Millie, is the one who handed down this recipe to me because it was a sauce that everybody loved in all of our gatherings, and we use it at home. So I brought it to market to sell to everyone because people were asking for it. They always wanted the recipe, but you know, I made my own business of it now. So that's available on our website. The recipe for the lamb is going to be on our website as well, mamamillies.com. And that's Millie with a Y. This video is also going to be over here. Yeah, actually, is also going to be on our YouTube. So you can check it out there. I'll be sharing the links. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and just I'll make sure that you have that as well.
So everyone,
We're
now unfolding the rice here. Our rice is not done. You saw the steam has come up. Our kitchen towel has done its job and absorbed a lot of that excess moisture. I'm now going to jazz up my rice here with some lemon zest. And here I have a grater. And you just want to strike the part of your lemon one time, one strip. We want the yellow, which has all of the essential oil from the lemon, but not the white. The white, the pit, is actually bitter. So we don't want that. So just one little strike and move it along.
Giselle, Chef Giselle, we also have another question here from Lizzie. Do you only use a towel with brown rice?
You can also Persians. That's actually, I believe, a Persian trick. They actually also use it with their white rice. And that helps along too, especially if you're making a big rice that you're putting in the oven, like a pilaf.
Okay.
Really helpful for something like a pilaf, but also very helpful for a brown rice. If you want to achieve that nice little fluffiness that I know a lot of people miss when they're switching from white to brown, right?
I was very interested to taste this recipe because I'm not the biggest brown rice fan. I've had it, and sometimes it's good, and other times it's not so good. So learning this kind of trick, you know, I'm sure that this is how people that make really good brown rice, like, it's got to be in a towel.
You can use a towel, and everyone, you know, the more you do it, the more practice you're going to get. Right. Rice is so personal. It's so cultural.
It is.
But, you know, it's a good opportunity, especially if you're somebody who eats a lot of rice. Make that switch. It's really worth incorporating it into your diet. Try it, play with it, make it your own. This is actually what I love about this recipe is actually based off of an April Bloomfield recipe. And the way she describes it is it's a no recipe, meaning just do what you like. I'm adding herbs. I'm probably going to add here some mint, right? I'm just making it however I feel. You know, adding these delicious herbs are going to be able to help our muscles and our bones. It's a great way of incorporating that nutrition, right? And now I'm adding that in there. I'm adding some, let's see, do we have any? Yep, I'm looking for a little bit of oregano. Yep, here we go. I'm adding some oregano. I'm just ripping it with my fingers, right? Just like the way Nona or Walita would do it.
Yeah.
Right? We're ripping that in there. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. I'm now going to wet it with that chef sheen, with that beautiful mojo, right? Adding that little bit of flavor to it. I like to keep my rice on the simple side, so I'm just going to add just a little splash, just a little bit.
And what's great too is that the oil really gets infused with the garlic flavor, so you can use it on its own too. And so there we go. And now it has a beautiful sheen to it. It's flavorful. It's so aromatic. And how do you think about, let's plate ourselves a nice beautiful plate? Sounds good.
I love it. And one last thing, everyone, we're talking actually about eating well. Proportions are a good part of that. So something I always tell the kiddos is half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. So we're going big time on this beautiful panzanella, right? Let's go big, you know? You don't gotta go home, but you should go big. So now we're going to
get another angle here.
Sure thing. We're gonna nice big portion here. You know what? I tried with the spoons, everyone. I tried, but I think this is the time for some tongs.
All right. So
nice
I'm gonna look
big,
overhead.
dramatic portion, right, of salad. And actually, something I tell people, if you know what's really funny about a buffet line, the salads at the end.
Oh yeah.
You know, so think about that way. The things you want on your plate that are good for you and that will make you feel better and feel better, those are the things you should plate first, right? Make room for those things on your plate, and then let the other things that are more of a guilty pleasure come in after, right?
Once you've filled your plate with all the nutritious vegetables.
Right? And hey, we're not sacrificing anything here, right? We have flavor, we have drama, right? This is looking beautiful. And we're gonna now baste that with that beautiful pan sauce. That beautiful sheen. And something else, everyone, also with the brown rice, it's pretty sturdy, so you can also add it to salads as just a way to add some substance.
I am actually a really big fan of putting rice in salad. We have a question here.
Yes.
Do you prefer or recommend brown rice for everything or just certain dishes? How would you make the decision to pick rice versus brown rice for a dish?
I think they're completely swappable.
Okay.
So to answer your question, right now I'm thinking, there's nothing that I would not substitute brown rice for white rice dish. I would say it's more about also the grain of rice. So if I'm making a rice pilaf, I want to make sure my brown rice is a pilaf type rice. If I'm making a jasmine rice, right, I want to make sure my brown rice is a brown jasmine rice.
Okay,
so just make
brown rice in all kinds of varieties.
In all kinds of varieties, right? Jasmine, long grain, short grain, medium grain. I've yet to see a risotto, but I'm sure those Italians will get right on it. So everyone,
all right,
look at
that. The main camera.
Look at that. So pretty, so gorgeous.
And there we have it. All right, everyone. So, how does wild rice compare with brown rice nutritionally?
Great. Actually, wild rice is even better. It does cook longer. So that's the thing of it, right? Brown rice does take longer to cook, but wild rice is even more so. So I would say there are certain quick cooking wild rices, but I've yet to find a brand that I actually enjoy and is as tasty. So wild rice is much more nutritious, but that being said, it is maybe not as easy to cook on a weeknight. It does take its time, its preparation. It is a rice that needs its tender, loving care. It will not be rushed.
Could you prep it, like batch cook it?
You could, but I think some things are just meant to be cooked slowly and enjoyed, and wild rice is one of those things. Cook it when you have the time.
But brown rice you could.
But brown rice we just saw, yes, brown rice you can definitely batch cook. You can also, it freezes really well. So, sometimes I see in the grocery store those rices that come in a pouch.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, if there's anything in your life that you can meal prep, it's definitely a big batch of rice. You can also cook it in your rice cooker. So I would say if you are going to cook it in a rice cooker, your brown rice, just double check the conversions. Stovetop, it's 2 parts water, 1 part rice. It may change over if you put that in a rice cooker.
All right. So with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. Thank you so much, Gisselle, Chef Gisselle, for being our guest chef. We had a great time, and now we're gonna dig in. So like I said, if you like these recipes, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Mama Millie's, www.mamamillies.com. We'll have all the links there. Sign up for our newsletter so that you know when our next classes are. And yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure cooking with you tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, everyone.